have 60 seconds to comply.
I think you'd better do what he says, Mr. Kenny.
You have 60 seconds to comply. This is minute 40. Part man.
Part machine.
All pod.
This minute begins with red alert and ends with Bob declaring he has a date tonight with a couple of models.
Oh yeah, I've been waiting for this just for I love this advert.
The ad segments are the best part.
Yes.
You know what? I'm going to say that's a bold claim, but I think it is the best part of RoboCop just because there's nothing else like it in the rest of cinema.
Yeah, it's funny how we don't really get that. We get TV conventions in movies, but we don't get them to this level. Like, how many movies stop to give you an advertisement in the middle of a movie that wasn't directed by Zack Snyder, trying to plug the next movie?
Yeah, it's... Well, we talked about the world building before, but something I didn't mention the last time is just how perfectly it goes with the overall flow of the movie. It doesn't feel disruptive, because I've been watching a lot of television from the 80s and 90s, and you can definitely tell when it's just like, well, we just sort of have to resolve this scene right here in a really abrupt, awkward way, because that's where the ad break has to go.
Oh, yeah, like... We're writing around predetermined ad breaks can be both good, but most of the time it's just like, oh, we've got to end this on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, I feel like screenwriters aren't like engineers where give them limitations and they thrive. I don't think... Although maybe they need them sometimes, I don't know.
Well, I did bring this up on a previous episode about how formulaic, American media can get, but it's funny how... You've got 45 minutes, you've got 5 acts, typically, ad break here, ad break here, ad break here, and somehow they still don't know how to freaking write to that. Yeah,
I think why the RoboCop one works, it's a bit of an unfair advantage to compare it to TV, because after RoboCop defenestrates that man, and yes, I'll take every opportunity to use the word defenestrate, it cuts to the new segment reporting on that, so you get this real sense of flow and continuity.
There's also a good sense of time dilation with the TV edits as well. How can I put it this way? This movie is weird in that sense. Like, there is a long time between things that are happening, and it's always in the edits. Like in RoboCop, they don't tell you how long it is, but you kind of get a sense that it's a long time between the creation of RoboCop and his final reveal. We see glimpses of the tech being developed, but we don't have a guy saying, wow, I can't believe it's taken 9 months.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. And in the script, it's like it's supposed to be a week between the dick shooting scene and the hostage situation, and we don't get a sense of that, but we do get a sense that with the media break, everything, that time is happening, because we got the hostage situation, and then we're getting confronted with this idea of RoboCop being paraded around children.
Yeah. I don't think the remake discusses time at all. Just things happen one after the other in some amorphous sense of time.
Yeah, especially with regards to the rebuilding of Murphy as well. It just feels like it's just... it's like no time is ever considered.
Yeah, now it's got me thinking, time in storytelling... Procedurals or crime stories, they will place a lot of emphasis on time. And I'm wondering if that's because, sort of like in real life murder cases, those gaps in time are very important.
Yeah.
And it sort of creates a sense of urgency sometimes. So, I don't know if you necessarily need to always acknowledge the passage of time, but there are definitely stories where time is of the essence, time is appropriate to know about.
There's always a weird thing. This happens a lot in some video games, especially sandbox video games, where you get this thing like, you need to urgently do this thing urgently, and did we emphasize how urgent this is? So why are you walking in the opposite direction to go climb a tree? What? Yeah. This is one of the common people talk about, I'm trying to think of the Breath of the Wild. This whole thing where you've got the classic Zelda storyline, Link has to go fight Ganondorf and blah, 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 blah. The realm is in the brink of peril, but the players spend most of their time just fart-assing around.
Yeah, or you could also... now you've got me thinking, video games are probably the place where time can be the most meaningful because you're experiencing it firsthand. and Metal Gear Solid 3, I think his name is the End, the old sniper man. You can defeat him just by setting the clock just, I don't know, a year ahead, and he just dies of old age.
I didn't know that. I haven't had much experience with those games. I really want to one day. I just never had the...
There's the remastered ones, and I've played the remastered ones, so I don't know if you can actually adjust the time. But yes, getting back on track. Time, I think, in a narrative, in a film narrative, creates a sense of, urgency, but it also can make it feel more personal. So, I don't know. In that sense, I think RoboCop does quite well, because it's immersing us in this world. We're getting this slow... integration of RoboCop into society. Maybe I'm just talking about my ass, but that's what it feels like.
No. It's definitely a part of that. There doesn't feel like a rush to get RoboCop out the door. That's the funny thing now I think about it with the remake. There's almost this kind of thing where, like, say, Sellers is kind of just wanting to get this done, and that's the pressure on Norton.
It's almost like symbolic of the studio just wanting to rush out a product that is recognizable and hopefully immediately profitable with the least amount of effort. But yeah, we see New Year's Day in the original RoboCop. We see a few other signs of time progressing, and I'm wondering if that was a conscious choice.
Well, the funny thing is, the one note I've got down is, so in this minute we get... the bit with newly minted Vice President Robert Morton.
Things are coming up, Morton.
Yes.
That's our T-shirt coming to our Redbubble shop. Never.
I have to design a few of these things. It's going to be amazing. But I've got the exact quote here. Is at Security Concepts, we're projecting the end of crime in Old Detroit within 40 days. I'm sorry, Bob. That's a bit optimistic. You just got one robot cop at the moment.
40 days.
40 days. It's biblical.
Yeah, it is kind of, actually. You could mythologize this. I mean, it's supposed to be kind of a Jesus allegory, so yeah.
Yeah, there's Jesus allegory all over this movie, thanks to Verhoeven himself.
Somewhat relevant to that, though, the news segment also says that there are dangerous working conditions in Old Detroit, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's of the criminal variety, or is it just...
So, in the script, it says... Because I didn't write down the actual one from the thing. Still no official start date of OCP's Delta City project. Labor leaders refuse to sanction construction until OCP can guarantee the personal safety of workers in Old Detroit. So, yeah, everything about this city has always been like, it's crime-ridden, crime's on the rise. So, yeah, I think Bob... It's just him being a big dick energy,
Yeah.
Which we're going to get to in a few more minutes as well.
Yeah, next minute, big dick energy.
And so, yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think that's just more of a biblical allusion. 40 from what I've gathered about the whole 40 days, 40 nights thing in the Bible, it wasn't necessarily this is going to take exactly 40 days, 40 nights. It's just an emphasis on this is going to take a long time.
Yes.
In this case, I think this is the cocky vice president going, yeah, we're going to get this solved in 40 days, and spoiler alert for the next movie, that doesn't happen.
I was just thinking more about the Red Alert commercial, and
yeah.
I'd love to know, this is something that's always fascinated me doing these Movie by Minutes. What do these actors think they're doing? What were they brought on to? Was they explained, this is RoboCop, this is the whole story? Because they don't really need to know that. So is it just you bring these people in and go, we're filming like a parody of a commercial? There was a podcast called I Was There Too with Matt Gawley. It was great.
Ooh, that sounds interesting. Just the title alone, just, wow, okay.
Yeah, I think you'd really like, because he tracks down all these bit part, minor background actors in all sorts of movies. I mean, there was Clancy Brown as well, but also just people who were in the background of James Bond. I think one of the girls painted gold, I think she was. Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. So I'm currently listening to a podcast called Kill James Bond, which is pretty damn funny. They're going through the Bond movies with the view that James Bond is the biggest prick on the screen. It is really damn funny. And yeah, so I just got to Goldfinger the other day, and it's like the name escapes me, but yeah, that's a fun podcast.
Yeah, so I would love to be able to. I don't know if anyone will ever come on our little podcast, but like maybe one of the kids in the news segment or in the
That would
Red
be
Alert
amazing.
segment, and just what was their experience? What do they remember about that?
I think I would love to like talk to some of the kids that were, definitely were kids in the schoolyard scene. 'Cause
Yeah.
that would have been like one of those. No one had context of what a RoboCop was back then. Like, it's probably just that thing where they're just like, this is a robot, go and, be shocked and surprised, They probably have more memories of Paul being a crazy guy on set than they probably have of the robot guy.
Oh, the robot was fine, but that director, man, my gosh.
He kept waving his hands around and screaming. What the hell? But yeah, kid performances can also be a thing that's make or break. Some kids can be more responsive than others, so hence never work with children or animals. But, yeah.
Just jumping ahead to the end of this minute, Bob Morton, well, towards
Oh,
the end, he has been promoted to vice president, as we said, and first of all, he's just so wonderfully cocky. He's having the time of his life. He's just mad with power, unlimited power,
Unlimited power.
But I think it's worth noting that he's now on equal footing with Dick Jones.
Yeah.
Basically, they're both VPs.
My one note for this particular moment is, I can't believe it's not Kenny.
Yeah. I was actually surprised though. So there's more than one VP. So it's not just that. Initially I thought, oh, has Dick been replaced with Bob? But no, they remain on that same platform.
The way I reason it is that Dick Jones is like VP of the company, like directly under the old man, and he just had an interest in doing this the Ed 209 project and the security concepts, and probably was in charge of security concepts. But now Bob Morton's stolen all that thunder, and so he's the VP brackets security concepts. That's how I rationalize it, but it's never really truly explored in the movie.
Yeah. Different departments, yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that aren't explored in the movie, it's funny that, we only know the guy as the old man, and it kind of feels like there's almost a voyeuristic quality to it in terms of it feels like we're just watching in on these conversations, and conveniently, we just have never heard anyone refer to him by his actual name. So even though he definitely has a name, it's just, well, we didn't happen to catch that little snippet of information.
It's like, was it the Fat Controller in Thomas the Tank Engine actually had a real name, but it was it Sir Topham Hatt. But most people would just kind of refer to him as the Fat Controller.
Yeah, poor guy.
Oh, God, yeah. But it's funny you say that, because there is a very voyeuristic shot coming up. And definitely in the next minute, and we'll definitely talk about that.
Yeah, I've just been thinking a lot about framing devices lately, especially visually, and it can be these really subtle things that either help you connect with characters immediately or kind of keeps you at a distance, and it makes it harder for you to relate to them.
Yeah, definitely. Like, we are deliberately given, using the visual language, we are definitely led to sympathize, or at least empathize with Bob Norton as a character. He's framed as the protagonist, and they do refer to him as that in the commentary. Like, he's the hero of the OCP sections, but we're never supposed to fully trust him, because we know he's a bit of a slime.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of a bro. He's definitely a bit of a hero around the office. But he's not actually admirable as a person. He's kind of the... been watching Karate Kid and Cobra Kai lately. He's the Johnny. He's the Johnny of the group. Like, he's cool. Everyone looks up to him, but he's not a good guy.
I gotta say, I think I've only ever watched one Karate Kid movie, and that was so long ago I can't remember which one it was.
As far as I'm concerned, there is only one Karate Kid movie. I say as I am preparing to watch the third one because I hate myself. Also, I just need to have all the information going into Cobra Kai Season 2, so yeah.
I think I watched about 10 minutes of the Hilary Swank one, and I was just kind of checked
Oh my
out.
god, no! What the hell? That's not even Karate Kid. What the hell?
I know. I did say I only watched 10 minutes of it before I was like, yeah, I'm not into this.
What? Yeah, no, I don't believe.
I can't remember if I watched Karate Kid 1 or 2. I definitely didn't watch 3. I just know that much.
Yeah, just watch the first one. That's where it's at.
Yeah, Yeah, I was a kid when that came out.
Yep. 85, maybe?
I don't know, but either way, yeah. So which one was Johnny again? I just don't. Is he the bad kid?
Sweep the leg, the bully, yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I want to cosplay as him so bad, but Supernova's next weekend, and I got nothing.
Well, by the time we record this, Supernova was yesterday.
Yep. So y'all
if
can
it goes
see our
ahead,
costumes. Yeah, you can see our costumes on Instagram if the world hasn't ended or one of us hasn't died or one of those things.
by the time this is ahead, I'll finally have my first of the 5G injection, so I'll have great Wi-Fi for the weekend.
Nice.
My first step into being a Robocop.
Does that work outside of city limits or?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it's that good. I completely forgot what I was going to say next.
Framing devices or?
Framing devices, yes. I think this movie does rely so much on visual language for those framing devices. And yeah, I think this is one of those great case studies for the movie actually telling you who is good, who is bad, but not being overbearing about it. Like, yeah, we get a good sense of who's good and who's bad in these scenes, but it's not like, aha, he is the mustache-twirling villain.
Yeah, it's not actually all that black and white, despite being satirical and larger than life, because the entire world is very unempathetic and cynical and sadistic.
Yeah.
It's very hard to delineate just the average person from a genuine monster.
This being a critique on capitalism, well, not so much as capitalism, but definitely corporatism. So yeah, they couldn't even make Morton really that good a guy, even though he's the protagonist of the scene. So that's the other thing people do sometimes. A protagonist doesn't have to be a hero.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the protagonist just means the person we're supposed to get behind in a scene. So yeah, so we have a protagonist here who is an absolute dick, but he's just not a monster compared to what we find out about Dick Jones. So that is interesting, and we're definitely going to talk about more about those two in a very short time. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's all my notes for this minute.
So I have some commentary notes. Ed, we're talking about the Nukem. He says, I don't know why no one's made it yet. I must admit, as a kid, I kind of wanted a Nukem board game.
Yeah.
So he also reveals that so they got sued by multiple people for copyright infringement, including a company called Nukem. John pipes in that he still has a copy of this lawsuit.
Duke Nukem.
Well, I think Duke Nukem came out after this.
Oh yeah, definitely did.
So I think Duke Nukem, the name, was possibly a reference to RoboCop. I'm not 100% sure on that, but it wouldn't surprise me in the least. Duke Nukem has a history of basically ripping off pop culture for its own shits and giggles. I haven't had time to explore this rabbit hole yet, but from what I can gather, this is a thing that happens a lot in Hollywood, where sometimes they'll release a thing, they'll go through all the checks and all that stuff, like, you know, copyright infringements or whatever, but they'll still get sued for weird things, like, hey, you ripped that character off me, but that's not how copyright works. So I don't have much notes on this, but I do have knowledge, and I'm trying to recall. But it is kind of interesting. I'll try and follow this up sometime in the future, because it is something really interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I got me thinking about postmodernism and copyright law, because everything is so derivative of everything else. Just, I think that's a whole rabbit hole you could go down.
Yeah, I heard that on minute 21 of Covenant by Minute, whatever the Covenant Minute.
Yes. Yeah, I guess that was already kind of circulating in my brain, yeah.
It's really interesting how the corporate side of these kind of things work sometimes. And yeah, like how much corporate interferes with the art and back and forth and shit like that. From what I can gather, it's usually the lower budget things can get away with a lot of that type of stuff, where it's always the higher budget ones, or where like there's more money at stake, is where the the companies will just like, no, you cannot be subversive.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Robocop's probably about as postmodernist as it comes. It is so built upon twisting everything that had come before and playing with those concepts.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's why movies like this do stand the test of time, and this is also one of those reasons why sequels tend to suck. Once you've resolved all the setup and payoffs of the first movie, where do you go from there? And most of the time sequels just have nowhere to go, or they're not got a unique angle.
Yeah, I mean, Spider-Man 2 and Back to the Future Part 2, and what else?
Yeah, there's probably a few, you can probably count on one hand off the top of your head, like, sequels that are potentially better than the first one. I know a lot of people don't like Back to the Future 2 compared to Back to the Future 1. I'm of the other group. I think Back to the Future 2 is slightly better, but I'm a time travel nut job.
I actually think Return of the Jedi is the best Star Wars sequel of the original. I actually do. I genuinely... But then there's also Empire Strikes Back. So I think the point I was making was, if it is at least retroactively written around the concept of making a trilogy, I think inevitably Part 2 ends up being the best because it's the rising action. It's the most exciting part of a story.
But it's also, if you go by the classic three-act structure, it's the hero's defeat, or it's the heroes reaching their lowest point. So when they come back in the third act, there can be triumphant. It's so you have to either end on a good cliffhanger, or you got to bring your hero down to the lowest level. Literally with Luke Skywalker, the lowest level of Bespin Cloud City.
Yeah, and that's how you make it the most exciting and the most memorable, because it kind of goes against the typical Hollywood narrative structure.
Yeah. My pet peeve when it comes to the original trilogy, everyone kind of does this thing where, oh yeah, it was organized and planned from day one. It was not. It really wasn't. Because everyone wants to say about the sequel trilogies, like, oh, they should have planned it, but the first one wasn't planned. Most trilogies aren't planned. Back to the Future trilogy wasn't planned.
Oh, the RoboCop trilogy, clearly very planned.
Yeah, and that's usually what happens is they make a first movie, and then it does well, and they go, and the studios go, okay, we're going to give you money to do a second one, and sometimes they go, we're not going to hire the original directors and screenwriters because they want money. We're just going to hire some hack and, yeah.
So, have you got any more notes for this minute?
So, there's one bit in the script I have to point out. A lot of the media break stuff is in, like, a lot of the books and script, but this one does have a commercial before Nukem. I might just quote the entire thing, because this is amazing. So this is Scene 180, Commercial 3. A network logo dazzles us. A slick, energetic narrator says, "Tonight on It's Not My Problem." Two beauties with monster tits knead dough behind the counter of a topless pizza bar. Comic Bixby Snyder leans into frame, complete with blow tie. "I buy that for $1. Massive canned laughter. "It's Bixby Snyder tonight at 8. Be there." I kind of wish I'd seen that.
We've kind of seen a version of that.
But it's funny because, I don't think this actually turns up really before in the thing, so that they had it in mind, but I'm glad they peppered it in as background information, because then it does get reinforced by, I think it's in the next minute, where, so I Can't Believe It's Not Kenny, his character's name is Walker. I don't think he's ever referred to by that name in the movie, so there you go. But so he reinforces the world building by saying, "I'd buy that for $1" in the next minute. So it's one of those things where this is clearly that big a show. And that's just really great attention to detail.
Somewhere in an alternate universe, people are watching stories from our universe, and they're like, who would actually watch something so vile as The Big Bang Theory?
Oh,
it's such a fake show within a show. I mean, couldn't possibly be real.
Yeah, no, don't get me started on Big Bang Theory.
Nope, let's move right along.
Speaking of Big Bang Theory, so in the book, it just goes straight from the scene at the school to the OCP tower. There's not much, but there is a moment where I'll just quote from the book. This is Morton reflecting on the events. A fleeting memory of Kenny's body sprawled across Delta City model flashed through his mind. Screw it, the kid was a nerd. Anyway, he died for a great cause, my career. Wow. So then it just goes into the rest of the scene.
Yeah.
I guess we kind of put it off long enough.
And now, gaslighting Robocop.
Alex, how do you feel?
I feel fine, Dr. Norton.
This minute begins with bedtime for Robocop and ends with Rorschach saying, Rio, Congo.
I just have one note here. Guns. Lots of guns.
It's gun porn, you know. I'm all about car porn, machinery porn in general, but guns just don't really do it for me. I mean, I'm very anti-gun, as I think most Australians are, because it's just an absolutely foreign concept to us.
I have a weird relationship with guns. If my relationship with guns on Facebook, it's complicated. I don't like the mechanical use of a gun. Like, for what they are, I'm anti-violence, but there's something about the actual mechanical function of a firearm that kind of... the form factor and the actual... I love fake guns, like sci-fi guns and stuff like that. I like my phasers.
As a prop, yeah.
I like the propage of gun.
Yeah.
The usage of gun, I could do without.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely looks really cool, especially when you're cosplaying or you're in an action movie and you got that gun to wield around and, you know... well, I mean, you can also use flamethrowers. That's always worked for Ripley. But, I think... Well, so I do know several weapons nerds who live around here. It's just that they can rattle off all the names and everything. They know their capabilities and all that.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a weapons nerd, yeah.
Fundamentally, our love of machinery is a love of power. It doesn't matter if it's cars or guns or whatever. We get excited about what they can do, or rather, what they allow us to do, whether that be in terms of speed or destructive capabilities.
Yeah, all that being said, I really hate this gun.
Yeah, I kind of like the taser gun. Is that in this? No, it's in the... Oh, no, the cartridge-driven taser pistol, yeah.
So, I've got the Internet Movie Firearms Database.org up for this. The pistol is the TSR-66. In the marketing, it is referred to as an NI-408. Again, there doesn't seem to be references for any of this, so I don't know. It is a base Beretta, although it doesn't say what kind of Beretta, but just says a base Beretta with a custom shell that was created using a 3D printer. It's another glorified taser. That's what it is in the movie. And it really just tells you this whole idea that they've tried their best to PG-ify Robocop.
Yeah, I mean, it's very Metal Gear, you know, you have to go... Oh, I haven't played it, but Metal Gear 3, definitely play that one day. It's, you got to get through the game. Well, you don't have to, but it's best if you get through the game without killing anyone. Yeah. And so you use the taser a lot.
I've done a 100% run on Deus Ex, Human Revolution.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't ask for this.
I never asked for this.
Without killing.
Nice.
Yeah, I've done a 100% no-kill run, and it takes you forever, but it's fun. So, yeah. The concept of a taser is great, but it just feels antithetical to Robocop.
He should just have all this stuff built into it. He should, like, machine gun hands. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing as well. So, the other gun is what's referred to as the M2 battle rifle. So, this is when you see when Rorschach points a gun at Roboflag, his visor comes down off screen, his legs open up, and on his left leg he's got the battle rifle, and on the right leg he's got the taser. The battle rifle, again, it's just a pistol that's been modified. It looks too unfeasibly large to be in that holster. The size looks wrong. It's another Beretta, but I don't know. I don't like these guns. I just don't. I want to, but I just can't.
It's, well, in keeping with the design aesthetic of the rest of the film, it's just... It's competent, but not impressive.
Yes. Oh, God. I'm gonna, like... This word is going to lose all meaning to me by the time we hit episode 93, because I've been using it so much, but it's so bland.
Yeah, this entire film is bland.
Oh, and I'm looking at the pictures of the M2 battle rifle, and I'm going, holy shit, they copied this for Star Trek Picard for all the new Federation weaponry.
Probably. So Rorschach says, your armor is state of the art but not invulnerable. 50 caliber or larger can penetrate multiple hits, and guess who ends up in the recycling bin?
Yeah,
So,
I like that line.
Yeah, it is a good line. And also, foreshadowing. I guess at some point, something big that's wielding some 50 caliber ammunition. Yeah. Somewhere that's gonna come up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not a bad bit of foreshadowing, and I like that. I just realised I think Rorschach might be my favourite character in this movie now, because he's the only one that just does not give a single crap about this fucking walking tin can.
Yeah, well, I was going to say it in the next minute, but I'll say it here. He is the only person who's literally speaking any kind of goddamn sense in this entire fucking movie so far.
We'll definitely bring it up again, because, yeah.
It's worth repeating, yes.
Yeah, it's worth repeating every single time he's on screen.
And it's Jackie Earle Haley. He's very charismatic. How could you not? Beloved character actor Jackie Earle Haley. Star of one episode of Knight Rider one time, funny enough.
You look like crap.
Fuck you, kid!
I heard that. He's got a weird long career, but yeah, it's kind of scary that he's only kind of gotten big in the last...
Maybe also MacGyver. Or one of of them. And everyone was on everything. Did you know that... this is a total tangent, maybe cut it out. But Nana Visitor was also in both Knight Rider and MacGyver.
Well, shit. That's exactly what I was hoping to spare you from.
No, I did not know that.
She's pretty great in both of them, especially in Knight Rider where she plays a villain. You don't see that often.
There's a lot of those early Trek, I should say the 80s, 90s Trek actors had been kicking around TV for a while. You know, the one that comes to mind is Michael Dorn. He was in Chips, and basically playing, I think, more the character he is in real life, just this big, dumb, friendly guy. But, like, you know, how many times has Armin Schumann turned up in crap and stuff like that? So a lot of these guys were, like, veterans before they became, like... But they were, like, bit part guys who finally landed that one role that got them recurring work. So it's one of those weird things as actors. Like, it sometimes could take them decades before they finally land that plump gig that gives them overnight success.
Well, that's all my notes for this minute.
Yeah, no, I think I talked as much as I want to talk about this damn film, and where can the lovely viewers find you? TravianDesigns.com and Great Regeneration on Instagram if you want my chronological exploration of the 1980s. Courtney Colson on YouTube, and patreon.com/TravianDesigns if you want Tron in 60 seconds. That's what I'm calling it now, my Tron Legacy podcast. And Nexus Minute, which is my Blade Runners, all the Blade Runners minutes, meta-analysis of the Blade Runners. And once you've got some spare time with that barrage of podcasts, go swing by to Fandom Crossing. And I'm hopefully going to have some more episodes of Kung Pao up soon. Kung Pao End to the Minute. But I've got other crap on there, YouTubes, all sorts of stuff. And I'm trying to get like weekly content out on Helios photos. I just posted, or should have posted up something new by now. I can't remember what it is because I haven't done it yet. So I'll edit that out. But more importantly, you can find us on Simplecast, Spotify, Apple, Google, YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, comment, rate, review, all that stuff. Until next time.
Robocock.